Alright folks, how you doing? So one thing I've learned a lot over the years from the Unslaved podcast with Michael Tazarian is that the James Bond movies are absolutely loaded with symbolism. And that brought me to thinking about this movie, Skyfall. Let's have a little watch of the clip here. If it will play. So, where is it we go here for Skyfall? Scotland. And of course, if you've been listening to my Riddle of the Earth series by Commons Beaumont, this should come as no surprise. Talking about how Northern Europe was devastated by a great catastrophe, how the land was ravaged and wrecked. And notice how the car, the Aston Martin, it looks like a small comet, almost, or a meteorite. And where do we end up? Of all places, a place called Skyfall. Well, let me ask you a question. What exactly is it that falls from the sky? And this symbol here, the deer, the horned god. Well, a horned god could look like a comet or a meteorite. And if we go here into another fictional universe, Lord of the Rings, House Baratheon, what is their symbol? Ours is the Fury. And where is their headquarters, their seat? Storm's End. So in a way, a meteorite can look like a stag. It can look like some horned creature falling from the sky. And it's just interesting that they work all this into fiction, science fiction and fantasy and all the rest of it. Dragonstone, for example, the dragon is the symbol of the comet, in ancient mythology. Talked about that before. The Storm Kings. Well, what is a Storm King? A Storm King could be said to be something that you see going across the sky. And even in Game of Thrones, they talk about this red comet that symbolizes the coming of dragons. See all these authors, your J.K. Rowlings and your George R.R. Martins and all the rest of it. You think they think of all this stuff up all on their own? Or do you think that they're putting subtle messages in these writings? In my opinion, they're probably all, Freemasons, but that's just speculation on my part. I just thought that was interesting to point out. And then, of course, we have this scene from the next movie, after Skyfall. This one's called Spectre, where, guess what? The shadowy elite, they worship this meteor.
I think we're meant to be impressed.
Notice how this room is almost like a temple.
Touch it. You can touch it if you want. Do you know what it is?
It's a meteorite.
Yes, exactly. The Kartenhof, the oldest in human possession. The very meteorite which made this crater. Think about it. So many years up there, alone, silent, building momentum until it chose to make its mark on Earth. A huge, unstoppable force.
Except it did stop, didn't it? Right here.
I just find the dialogue here very, very interesting. The way that, Blofeld is like reverent and worshipping this thing as a source of great power and devastation, and Bond's just totally dismissive of it. And in a few minutes, Bond is about to be humbled. So the inference there is quite obvious. That Blofeld is the one with the knowledge, and Bond is the ignorant one.
Can't tell you how much I've been looking forward to this. All of us here together.
And it just kind of goes on from there, but pretty interesting that they worked that into the film, this worship of the meteorite. Pretty telling in a lot of ways.